A lot of people ask what weapon should they use next, so here is the answer. Standard isn't so combat focused as other game modes. We simply have nothing to fight here besides slayers, sea creatures and some normal mobs. Some of the top players like Xusae and Loidza agree with the following tier list. Weapons are ranked based on their usefulness and difficulty to obtain. Because of how standard works, most of the weapons will just go straight to F tier, which means that it's a waste of time to get them. Some weapons were obtainable but no longer are. Those will go to U tier. Weapons will be rated in alphabetical order. Without further ado, let's begin. First is Artisanal Shortbow. It isn't too useful, but it is super easy to obtain and it is a shortbow after all. You may have some use for it in early game, so D tier. Next one is Aspect of the End. It is a great item that you're probably gonna be using all the time for quicker transport on your island. It also has some decent damage, you may end up using it as a main weapon for some time. A tier. As much as I like the meme, Aspect of the J gets an F. Aspect of the Void is just a fancy version of Aspect of the End, that uses slightly less mana. A tier. Axe of the Shedded is a great weapon for increasing the speed of Revenant Slayers. It's the best weapon for that, and its ability helps a lot with summoning the boss. Easy S tier. Regular bow goes to F tier, there isn't even an easy way to get arrows very early on. Celeste Wand doesn't have any use as far as I know. There are better options, F tier. Cleaver is a funny one, because to get gold you have to be level 24 in combat. Gold was obtainable before by killing pigmen, but an update some time ago broke pigmen spawning. Either way, it is useless by the time you can get it, F tier. Diamond Sword no need to explain, F tier. Edible Mace has no use as far as I know, F tier. After the update, Emerald Blade became worthless and it is a lot of grind to obtain on standard, because of emerald trading mechanics, F tier. Endstone Sword, End Sword, Ender Bow, Endstone Bow and Explosive Bow all get an F, I see no use for them. Frozen Scythe is a bit of ice game to obtain, but it is the best and pretty much the only viable option for guardian fishing. It is also good for Slayer summoning, because it can kill lots of mobs with precision and infinite piercing. Ghoulbuster is not obtainable anymore, because the update I mentioned earlier broke spooky mobs, so you cannot get Ectoplasm for it, U tier. Golem Sword, after considering the cost of crafting it, gets an F, there are better options. Hurricane Bow, thanks to the ability to shoot 5 arrows at once, is the best weapon to the hit phase of a Demon Slayer. That's enough to place it in A tier, because it trumps any other bow in that matter, and it's really easy to craft compared to other. Inkwand deals huge damage to multiple enemies at once. The most common use of it is killing all the sea creatures at once when fishing, B tier. Iron Sword no need to explain, F tier. Gyro Gun has no use on standard, F tier. Because of how expensive Juju is, and the fact that it has no use by the time you can get it, it gets an F. There is nothing to kill by using it. Leaping Sword is fine, but the amount of spider eyes it needs makes it not worth the precious minion time, F tier. Mercenary Axe is really just a waste of money, there is a better option, F tier. Mosquito Bow is probably the worst thing you can do to yourself, F tier. Ornate Zombie Sword is good for extra healing during Enderman Slayer, B tier. Big One Sword would be okay, if not the time it takes to get it. There are better options, F tier. Phantom Rod doesn't even work on standard. All it does is knockback with 0 damage. You can use it for transporting mobs like villagers. In case of Push Sword, I cannot really tell you if it's worth the effort. I asked Lucor about it, because he owns Full Mastiff, and he told me that he can deal somewhere around 80k damage with it, but the thing is that he is only level 31 combat, and he's missing some other damage boosting things. It might be worth it if it can speed up Sven Slayer, but I will have to test it myself in future video about Sven Slayer. Although even if it is able to kill Sven faster than Suffocation, it won't save much time either way, and there is a possibility that other weapons are able to deal even more damage. I'll place it in B tier for now. Prismatic Blade is an easy S tier. It's a great early game weapon because it is easy to obtain and deals decent damage. Also, sword swapping to it in endgame works wonders. Reaper Falchions should be able to speed up summoning Revenant a bit before you can get Axe of the Shadow, and later you can use it for crafting it, B tier. Reaper Scythe is simply a good weapon for dealing damage to all kinds of mobs. It's really the best weapon for that use, but I don't think it deserves S tier, so I put it in A tier. Souls summoned by it have no use as of now. Recluse Fang is pointless, F tier. Revenant Falchion is pretty weak, but you can use it later for casting Repair Falchion, C tier. Rogue Sword, Runan's Bow, Savannah Bow, Scorpion Foil, Shaman Sword, Silk Edge Sword, Silver Fang and Slime Bow either have a better option or are useless, F tier for all of those. Soul Whip like Ghoul Buster is no longer obtainable because of Ectoplasm. It is however a pretty good overall weapon, and it can be used for mana stealing during Enderman boss fight. It goes to U tier. Spider Sword, Squire Sword and Starlight Wand have better options, F tier. Tactician Sword is a great mid-game weapon for general use. It is however heavily RNG based from villager trades, and it requires you to max out combat collections before using its full potential. You can also put Wood Singularity on it, but that's also RNG from villagers, B tier. I probably make a trading guide in the future. Undead Sword is a classic decent first weapon, but you should switch to a better weapon fast, C tier. Voidwalker Katana isn't too great by the time you can get it, and it cannot be upgraded because we have no Mithril on standard, but it is okay for doing tier 1 Enderman if you have to, D tier. Voodoo Doll, Wither Bow and Wooden Sword have no use, F tier. Yeti Sword is pretty much the best weapon, and even though it requires a ton of ice grinding, it is still easy S tier. You can deal even 5 million damage per hit to tier 4 Enderman. Zombie Sword is just a worse version of Ornate Zombie Sword. You can at least use it for crafting it, D tier. There are still two weapons worthy of S+ tier. Those are Infinite Wand and Builder's Wand. Infinite Wand is super easy to obtain, just one Jacob's ticket. You can suffocate almost all mobs using Infinite Wand. Exception is Void Gloom Seraph and Inferno Demon Wand. Builder's Wand is pretty much the same. It is harder to get, but you will need it eventually for building. And it has the advantage that you can just use undo command, instead of having to break that block placed by a dead wand. To sum it up, weapon progression goes something like this. First decent weapon you can work for is Prismane Blade. You can get it easily by simply placing down fishing minions. Before that maybe use Undead Sword or something from Rosetta. After that you could grind for Aspect of the End, so you don't have to place water everywhere. Then you might want to upgrade state to Tactician Sword. Tacticians should carry you to Reaper side easily. The thing about standard is that you simply don't need a weapon most of the time. Revenant, Tarantula and Sven can be suffocated with just a dead wand. The same goes for Secretors with higher HP, like Reaper or Zombie Miner. For Enderman Slayer you want to get Yeti Sword. There isn't any better weapon available as of now, because we can't upgrade Voidwalker Katana. Other weapons like Ink Wand or Frozen Scythe are for a specific purpose. Grind for them whenever you feel like you have to. That's all I have to say. If you have any questions, some weapons are missing or you disagree with their ranking, let me know in the comments. I will respond to the best of my ability. If you want to support me, subscribe, like the video and join my Discord server. Thank you for watching.